going, Neil?
Good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, very well, very well.
There's about
Yeah,
there's about a 2 to 3 second delay because I'm calling you on the Wi-Fi at home.
yep, yep.
Now,
And you're still in Tassie at the moment, are you?
yeah, mate. Yeah, I'm in northeast Tassie. Been down here for a couple of years now. I am due for
Yeah,
another trip back to Adelaide soon, though, to catch up with my daughter. So it's not out of the cards.
yeah. I'm sure you're looking forward to that.
Yeah. Hey, now I do these interviews for our YouTube channel. Are you okay if I record this for that, or would you prefer if I didn't release it?
Yeah, no, that's fine. Like I said, I mean, first name doesn't bother me. But other than that, prefer to remain anonymous.
That's
I'm
all
a
right,
school
mate.
teacher, so probably don't want anyone thinking I'm a cuckoo.
No, that's all right. No worries at all. So, look, thanks a lot for your time, Anthony. I really appreciate you coming forward. How did you find us? Did you have you heard of us before, or you just looked it up when you saw it
Yeah,
and
look,
Googled it?
I've been on the Thylacine awareness page for I don't know 5 or 6 years now.
Ah, awesome.
So I've been following for a while. Um, always had a soft spot as well since a kid. So yeah, once I saw your Adelaide Hills post, I reckon that was when I sort of jumped on board. Yeah,
Okay, so that was 2016. So yeah, good 6 years now.
yeah,
Awesome.
that's
Well,
it.
good to
Yeah,
have you on board, mate. And now you've had an encounter
yeah. Cheers.
yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Look, I mean, it was a little bit bizarre because driving often I'll drive. You know the area very well, obviously. So if I say these landmarks, you're going to know what I'm talking to or referring to.
Yep.
But often I'll drive on the way home from picking up my daughter. We'll drive home along Perseverance Road. Just at the bottom of Anstey Hill, and
Yep.
always on the lookout there for kangaroos or we think that one day it'll be lovely to spot a thylacine. But yeah, more for the ruse. But this time, this was on Elizabeth Street, so I definitely wasn't even waiting or anticipating anything. And so I was on Elizabeth Street and heading south. So I would be approaching soon. I'll be approaching St David's Catholic School there,
Yep.
where the
So you're
roundabout is.
coming from the Grenfell Road end.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yep.
so probably in the middle of the road. So not closer to Grenfell Road, but still not like all the way up there at all.
Yep.
Yeah,
I know what you mean.
approaching that. Yeah, and there's a big deep creek underneath as well. So I was about to approach that, and then I just see like I can't say I saw it on the footpath, but as soon as it hit the road, I noticed an animal on the road there, and so it starts making its way across, and it was in a hurry. It was moving fairly quickly. It didn't stop or observe me or look at me. Maybe it knew a car was coming, and that's why it moved quickly. Or I don't know. It was almost like it had a purpose. If you understand what I'm saying, it had a purpose. Whether it was to dodge a car or it was following something else, I'm not sure. But I only saw the animal, and the first thing that struck me was the colour. So it was quite an orangey, a ginger orangey colour, and so that's why straight away I thought, oh, it must be a fox. But then
Sure.
I'm thinking, hang on a second, doesn't look like a fox. Um, and so then I'm thinking, yeah, it's possibly a cat, and it did kind of look like a cat, to be honest. But then, the more you look at it, and we're talking about, I saw it probably 2 seconds all up, but the more I look at it, I go, it can't be a cat because how long the torso is, from the back legs to the front legs, the torso was quite long. So that struck me the most to begin with. Then I start noticing the tail, and the tail's quite stiff and long as well. So definitely then I'm affirming in my head, no, it can't be a fox because it's not nowhere near bushy enough to be a foxtail. It's too long to be a foxtail. And then probably the next thing that struck me is the eye shine. So that's when I realised, chuck on my high beams, and I put my high beams on, and the eye shine stood out even more, and it was like a dark golden to orangey eye shine. So it wasn't as orangey as the coat. It was probably more, yellowy to golden, but
Sure.
it was still at that colour. It's almost like it all blended in. Yeah.
And were the eyes particularly sparkly sort of thing, or but were they really bright?
That they were quite, yeah. I mean, I guess it's reflecting from the car lights, but they were definitely bright, and in a way it's so different to any other animal's eye shine that I've seen before.
Okay. Have you done much hunting at all in the past? Have you been out in the country a lot as a lad, or?
Nah, I'm not. I'm not much of a hunter. I haven't really done much of that.
Sure.
I mean, just always living around the foothills of Adelaide. I've seen plenty of foxes. I grew up, Woodford, so I saw plenty of foxes around there.
Yep.
Even in Athelston, where I am now, I've
Yep.
seen a lot of foxes around there. So, and the foxes, they almost are more on their toes, when they walk and run.
Yeah.
So it didn't look like a fox to me. But look, I'm sure there's people that know these animals much better than I do. But yeah, look, I'm very confident it wasn't a fox.
Sure. Did you say to me earlier on?
It's not a cat.
Did you say to me earlier on
Sorry?
that your daughter was with you? Sorry, in the car.
Yep. She was with me, and look, I'm processing, and it was her that said, "What is that?" And I said, "Yeah, what is it?" So then we're looking at it, and we're saying, "It's not a fox, is it?" No, it's not a fox. And then we're doing that process of elimination. It's not a cat. No, it's not a cat, because of all the reasons I've already sort of mentioned to you. And then I didn't want to put any words in her mouth, but so I sort of probed her, what kind of things did you see? What did you see? And then she's the one that noticed and mentioned it first, about she saw more stripes. She said, I thought I saw some stripes, on the rump area. Not that she mentioned, she didn't use the word rump, of course, but she said like on its, near the bum and the tail area.
Yeah, okay. How old's your daughter?
She's 10.
Okay, and what time at night was it when you saw the animal?
It was 9:15.
Okay, so you're on your way home after picking her up, yeah?
Yeah.
Heading back to Athelston.
Yes, correct.
Okay, cool. And if you were going to compare it size-wise to a breed of dog, roughly how big was this animal, do you think?
Look, this would have to be a juvenile. That's why I thought cat to begin with. But then, the more I think about it, it wasn't. It couldn't have been a cat. The way it moved, how long the body was and the tail was.
Yep.
So, look, it wasn't. Like if I ever imagined I'd see one, I was picturing it would be, like a Labrador size or a German Shepherd. But it definitely was much smaller than that.
Okay.
So it would have been a juvenile.
Yeah, fair enough. So probably
trying to think of a dog, but
say around the same size as an average sort of fox, really, or a bit smaller.
I reckon smaller. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So
but longer, smaller but longer.
Your daughter noticed stripes. Did you notice stripes, or you just sort of confirmed that with her?
Yeah, I confirmed it with her. I definitely saw, a little bit of unevenness, I guess, at the top, but they weren't strikingly, stripes that jumped out at me. I mean, we're still talking like I was approaching this bridge area, and where the creek was underneath, and probably a good 10, 15 metres away from it as well. So it wasn't overly close, but still enough to get a good view of, size and the way it moved.
Yeah, and
well.
You've got nice bright headlights.
That's the other thing as well.
Oh yeah, go on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the way it moved was very interesting. It's almost like the body. If you're just looking at the top of the body, just went almost straight. It didn't go up and down or anything. It went straight across, and the way it ran was very, almost like, had that low center of gravity. It was very low to the ground.
Okay.
The way it ran.
So it wasn't running in any particular kind of way, but it was very steady and on track. It wasn't really stopping to look at you or anything.
No, it wasn't doing that. It was just, seemed to have a purpose to get across that road.
So when you first saw it, was it on the right of the road and went across to the left and disappeared in the creek? Is that how it happened?
Other way around. It was on the left. So I was approaching it. It was on my left, went across to the right, and then disappeared.
Okay. So it was heading downstream, down the creek, heading further into the burbs.
Yeah, that's right.
Those creeks go for miles through the back of those homes, through that area in Tre Gully. I've been right up and down all of those creeks, ripping out the olives back in the 90s.
Okay, yeah.
Long time ago, 30 years ago now, almost 29 years ago, we cut all those trees down.
It's definitely a deep creek, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and they're all the headwaters of dry creeks. So there's about 6 or 7 creeks across the top of Tre Gully, and by the time they all get to Valley View, they've all formed into Dry Creek behind where Plaza Holden used to be there at the bottom of Nelson's Road. Kelly Road, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
Kelly Road. Yeah, but yeah, they're good corridors, that's for sure. There's lots of critters running around in there at night. You wouldn't necessarily think of there. So that's really good, Anthony. Is there anything else that you can think of that you want to share with me at all, or that's pretty much it?
No,
It was only a couple of seconds you saw it, but your daughter saw it quite clearly too.
That's right, and for her to sort of say, like, what was that? I realise, we've seen something that is not what you're used to seeing in the suburbs. Like you see cats crossing the road. Every now and then you'll see a fox, but you could tell it definitely was no fox, no dog. And cat was still the closest thing, but the tail and the torso just almost rules that out as well.
Yeah, fair enough.
And the eye shine, because it definitely wasn't a cat. Definitely wasn't a cat eye shine. Never seen that golden orangey eye shine on a cat before.
Sure. Oh, that's awesome. You'd be pleased to...
I mean...
Go on.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just going to say the movement as well. It almost like the legs were rolling, or similar to a way a cheetah can run, sort of.
Okay, so the back was very still and the feet were doing all the work.
Yeah, that's it.
Excellent. That's different, actually, because normally people say something quite opposite and they say that it ran like it was drunk or injured. But you're saying this thing was moving quite fast.
Right. And that's what I was anticipating that gate.
Yeah.
But it was moving fast. Yeah.
So maybe it was in a different locomotion. It might have been doing a rotary gallop or something instead of this awkward gait that everyone describes when they're moving a bit slower, perhaps. I don't know. It's all speculation, but it's interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, like when I've read other people's sightings, often they say how it was just in no hurry to or not even scared or anything like that.
Yeah.
This one here, like I said, maybe it was chasing some game or something, but it was really, really moving.
Yeah, and it was on a mission.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. All right, mate. Well, look, thank you very much for your time. That's awesome. We've finally got a sighting in for South Australia this year. Normally, South Australia goes off pretty quick. We had, I think, about 5 or 6 in the first month last year in South Australia. I know we had one New Year's Day last year. Actually, we had 2 New Year's Day last year. We had one down the southeast and one in the Barossa on New Year's Day. So actually, no, one was New Year's Eve, but it was still pretty close. But yeah, that's awesome, mate. We've got one under the belt and given Victoria a run for their money. They've had 5 in Victoria this year.
Have they? What regions all over the place?
A little bit north of Melbourne, but mainly South Gippsland and or around the Ballarat region. Actually, quite a bit of activity there. So you never know; these things pop up in the strangest places.
Yeah, they definitely do. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, mate. Well, look.
Thanks for that, and you keep up all your good work.
No worries. Pleasure. Absolute pleasure. And thanks for hanging in there and sticking with us.
Yep, not a problem.
All right, good on you, mate.
Right,
Cheers for that.
Neil. Thanks for the call.
No worries. Thanks a lot.
See you later.
Bye-bye.